Boom. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mad's Monday Morning Podcast. We have Liam here for the second time.
True.
And we're on video.
Super advanced.
Super advanced technology.
Totally scuffed as fuck intro and lighting setup and everything.
But
chilling.
you made the music for the intro.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know
I
if
did
people
do
know that.
Yeah, I noticed there wasn't much in the way of clout in the description or any new followers or anything, but yeah. I did that.
Have you been working on new stuff as far as music goes lately?
A little on and off. I've been getting a little bit more busy. Not, busy. I'm not in school right now, but I meeting new people and everything. So I've been a little bit more slacking on the music stuff, but still do some things from time to time. Um, I've been writing a little more, lyrics and stuff, but no complete anything yet.
That's cool. Yeah.
We're still not doing any album things, which sucks, but maybe one day.
Yeah, that'll probably just happen whenever it happens, kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. We might I've changed a lot of workflow things since then. Like I'm still a super young artist, I guess. So my process changes, and so going from the process I have now to the process I had when I made some of the tracks for them is would be kind of jarring and confusing for cohesion and just the way I focus on things. So we might scrap a bunch of things, start a whole bunch of new things, who knows, but
Yeah, I've been in stages like that where it's like, how could I even go back and do what I was working on before?
yeah, exactly.
With the method I have now, it's just totally different. That kind of deal.
Right. Totally.
But I don't really know how else to kick off the conversation, to be honest with you. This is just a chill
Well,
episode.
yeah, just chilling. I mean, that's how I kind of like it. Feel like if I had to prepare, I'd be a lot more stressed right now, but I'm just kind of chilling out.
We were supposed to have Theo back with us, but he felt like he had to prepare for this.
Oh yeah, he was kind of stressing a little bit, but that's okay. We people are different.
Well, it's just
Not in a disparaging way.
I don't want it to feel like I'm putting pressure on you guys at all.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
I, I I don't feel like that. I was going to prepare a little bit because I know he had a question about the book I was reading that I couldn't really answer. Um I looked for it this morning. I couldn't really find it, um but yeah, that's been one of the main things I've been doing. I've been reading a lot. Um yeah, reading a lot, writing a lot. I'm in a new relationship, so that's interesting. Um I think I feel like there was one more thing, but it escapes me right now. Um, yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, if he messages us at all, we'll just join him into the call and
Yeah, we can just toss them in here.
yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Otherwise,
Um,
we could just do another one of these
but
next week with him.
but oh, sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Well, if not, then we could just have him on next time if you wanted to.
Yeah, later.
Yeah.
Right.
We're sort of
I
expanding the
have
show, doing different stuff.
really.
Well, yeah, I had that Sartre guy on last time.
Yeah, I know you're I haven't been paying super close attention as far as like watching every podcast episode as I used to, but it seemed like they've been becoming a little bit more philosophy oriented, um that kind of thing, which historically hasn't really been my bag super much. Um yeah, I've been kind of staying out of the way.
Well, I'm just trying to offer something original, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, because
Yeah,
I don't want to just be following like a formula of gaining popularity like my old streamer clips were kind of doing. Like I
yeah.
want to be kind of offering like an original position that's a little different from like your average YouTube leftist channel, you know?
Yeah. Right. There, yeah. The Voshes, the Destinies,
Yeah.
the even ContraPoints, it's kind of the just the grind for the super intuitive feel good positions without much of the rigorous thinky positions.
Yeah,
Um
I guess that's a way of putting it.
um so so yeah, it's kind of weird. I've been super disappointed in Vosh more and more. I think his take on the pride stuff was kind of cringe. Like really cringe. Um he can kind of just say whatever makes him look the best to the most people and then kind of coast like that.
Yeah.
Which is a little unsatisfying to me a lot of the times. Um just the way he handled it. Like I feel like historically he's been a little bit better about, taking criticism, um incorporating new things into his beliefs, but with the pride discourse, he just like fucking took a super hard position and then called everybody who disagreed with him a pedophile and then just kind of left it. Like it was, yeah, it was kind of annoying, but I don't even really watch Bosch that much anymore, so
That's kind of surprising, but
I just haven't had the time.
but
Been
yeah,
doing a lot.
I definitely agree with that one. Like, did you see him talking to Demon Mama about that after that all happened?
I caught some clips. He kind of came off as like bridge Bernie a little bit, which was super shocking because I
Almost
thought they had,
happened.
yeah, I thought they had been pretty good friends up until that point, but yeah, it seemed like he was super not interested in having much of a discussion about that one.
It was a very weird
I don't
situation.
want to I don't want to attribute conservative tendencies to him, but just like it seemed like he was most scared of feeling like um the kink people were like making the LGBT plus community like look bad, like kind of almost like a, I don't want to say like a Blair White, but like it kind of came a little close there with how he was talking about kink people.
Which is weird because usually Vosh is super like sex positive and like edgy in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of out of
Tacoma
character.
wept. Yeah, Tacoma wept.
Yeah.
Everything.
And he's
Yeah.
always
So
he's always making jokes about like he's always making jokes about sex. Like he's very
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's
pretty
just
cool.
he can't
Yeah.
act like he's like better than any other
Yeah.
kinky person.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But I guess it does become a complicated issue.
It is complicated, and I've even kind of been more on the side of agreeing with a lot of what Vosh says. I feel like first and foremost, the people that need something like a pride parade most would be young confused children who don't know what the fuck is going on with them, and or why they I guess if you're gay, why they like boys and not girls, and why everybody's always talking about boobies and stuff when everything.
And
So
like
I
kids in like middle school and high school were probably getting like bullied for it. Like that's kind of the outlet
yeah,
for them as well.
yeah, I feel like if anybody needs a super good strong space for some kind of community like that, I feel like it would be the young people. But so it is a super hard issue, but I've kind of been a little reluctant to weigh in as a straight passing, het passing, or that's the same thing. Straight passing, cis passing guy, um, who's never been to a pride event or anything. I've kind of just stayed out of this one, to be honest. It doesn't really affect me, but I can see both sides of the argument.
Well, I think Vosh's ultimate position, if I'm not confused, was like there should be a time allocated
Yeah,
for it to be like a family, like
yeah,
minor
yeah.
friendly event, which is like that seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, that I liked the proposition where it's kind of like Mardi Gras, like during the daytime it's all like sunshine and rainbows, double meaning there. And it's just like family friendly. Everybody come and be proud of being gay, and then after maybe midnight or 10 o'clock, then all the kink people. But then it's like it's a little again doing kind of the conservative thing where you kind of tuck the weirdos into the not safe for work uh after hours thing, and then you're kind of creating a whole new hierarchy of LGBTQ issues. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Well, I was thinking about that specific aspect a lot. Like that was my initial reaction to seeing all these takes of ah, like all the basically all these panic takes about like
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
think of the children type shit. I almost tweeted out this hot take where I was basically just gonna say like all of the kids and all of the kinks at Pride at one like just throw it all out there. Just be as
Whoa.
decadent and degenerate as possible because that's kind of the
Yeah,
point of queerness as like a social
yeah,
force, I think.
yeah. But then
But
then
then I
that
was
kind of sorry.
I was thinking like I actually don't want anything bad to happen to any children. So it's kind of like you have to draw a line at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I think the oh, you're just doing think of the children is like kind of bad faith, because like not maybe not bad faith, but like a little misguided. Like you should think of the children. Like you should. It's a good thing to consider the youth, but the problem with the think of the children thing is the right misapplies it,
Well, they're
to
basically
things.
hiding behind kids when they say that stuff. Because in
Yeah,
other issues,
exactly.
they don't give a shit about anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, you do want to genuinely be concerned for youth and you want them to be healthy and everything. So, and I feel like if we really just go gloves off, or I guess for some kink people gloves on, if you want to go that way with it, um, I feel like that space could kind of be like rife for abuse if a bunch of kids are there. So it can be super hard.
Right. And like, I don't know. Because I was also thinking like, the age of consent in my state is only 16.
Uh
So,
huh.
like, in my opinion, like I don't know, like I've always thought of it as like there's not really and people might respond to this with a negative kind of reaction to what I'm about to say, but like there's not really a magical line you can draw at a certain point to say like this is
Yeah.
when every single human being will be ready for
Yeah.
sexual
Exactly.
activity, and if they're below this they just aren't. Like I don't think
Yeah.
that makes any sense. So it's kind of
Which
like
doesn't mean which to kind of play a little bit of pre-defense for that, which doesn't mean we should lower the age of consent in any capacity, but I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to say. Like it's everybody's different. There's no magical age, but what we need to do as a society, instead of maybe saying, you can't have sex before this arbitrary whatever, it should be more like, here are the tools to know when to have sex, to
Yeah.
know who you can have sex with, to know how you should do it, how to be safe about it, everything like that. Instead of just saying kind of an abstinence thing where it's like, don't do this until you hear me.
Yeah, I bet you probably like living in the South have more
Yeah, yeah.
abstinence education bullshit to deal
Mhm.
with than me because like they at least try to teach you stuff up here, you know. It's not
Really?
yeah,
That's shocking.
it's not like well, it's definitely not like the health classes that I took were definitely nowhere near as like queer friendly as I would want them to be. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like they didn't
I
teach
don't
you
think I knew.
shit about any of that at all. It was all like heteronormative.
I don't think I knew what a gay person was until like the ninth grade. so so yeah, it's pretty fucking bad down here. Um, I don't. Yeah, they just don't tell you about how to have sex safely. There's almost no mention of it in other than like, biology class. Like this is how you make a kid, but other other than that, there's no really like any kind of guidance. It's kind of just they throw you to the wolves, tell you not to do things, and then people just have a bunch of fucking kids because you have no idea what to
Yeah.
do. But anyway,
But I think yeah, like a educated sex positive kind of environment of upbringing would probably create like a lot less repression, so a lot less
mhm,
like hopefully a lot less sexual abuse in the long term
yeah,
in society, but that's just what I've always thought.
yeah. Because if you don't know what a tiger looks like, how are you going to keep yourself from getting attacked by a tiger?
Yeah.
Like you should we should all make every kid well aware of what sexual abuse and coercion means. Like every kid should know that to just so they can avoid it.
Right. And like sheltering all these topics away from somebody, I feel like that just creates a lot of negative consequences.
Connotation, yeah, and guilt for learning about it
Yeah.
on your own.
And like when you do learn about it on your own, like what are you learning and that was part of the problem that I'm kind of pointing to. Like if you learn
Yeah,
sex
'cause
from porn, it's kind of like
right.
a false representation of what it actually will be like.
Yeah, and if you go on the, say you're looking up trans issues to see, maybe who you are, and if you go to like half the trans subreddits on Reddit, they're all like porn categories and shit. So it's kind of like fuck, we should just be teaching these people these things instead of letting them find out and developing their own perverse ideas about a lot of these categories. I feel like it would just save so much time and harm as far as overcoming internalized guilt about shit.
Yeah, and like the way porn treats trans people is awful. Like it's
Disgusting.
literally
Like the whole
awful.
I don't know if I can I don't know if I even want to say like the words that they say. They're pretty fucked up. Like God, I can't imagine.
It's all
Just
designed around literally like the chaser like fetishized image of a trans woman in
yeah,
particular.
you have the cute super passing girl who comes and feels you up at the bar, and then you pull their pants out. Oh my God, you have a penis, and then all that shit.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting. Like why can't I don't know. And
And
then
they'll call
trans
it
men are
like
non-existent.
yeah, they just erase those people, yeah. And like well, it's interesting because like people can make their own porn now. So you have like OnlyFans and
Yeah.
all of these like online
Mm.
sex work outlets for people to just represent themselves the way they actually want to be perceived. But if you go on like Pornhub or anything, it's all just like she-male get like all of this
Yeah.
stuff like
That
she-male
was that's
tranny
what I was
porn
going to say.
like
Yeah.
content warning for this part, I guess. I just dropped some slurs, but I don't.
Yeah, just casually. Um, but yeah, I feel like if I knew, you know, what a gay person was or what a non-binary person was, I would have had such an easier time finding out more about who I am rather than feeling like, oh, I'm not this enough or I'm not this enough. I it's just not educating people about these things just does nothing but harm.
Yeah. We're like so far away from where I would want education to be in society in like every way. You know what I mean?
I agree completely. Yeah, there's too much. I hate how much. I think we've talked about this maybe on this podcast before, but just the focus around labor and work in the education system is kind of fucked up.
Well, that's really
It's kind
its
of cringe.
actual goal is to make you like it's a train into the workforce is what school is.
Yeah, which is a lot of the reason why the Republican Party tries to hijack it so badly. Um, they want to do their whole. There was the whole patriotic education thing, where they can fully double down on just turning people into a bunch of like worker ants or whatever.
Yeah, and covering up the government of the country's crimes against black and
Yeah,
indigenous people in
yeah,
particular.
yeah. I'm just so astonished at the things that I keep learning from like reading books rather than like just knowing about things from what I'm taught in school or online. It's kind of crazy how fucking whitewashed everything was. I mean, I live in a what was a Confederate state. So if it was whitewashed, up there, and I don't know if your location is public, but in the north,
In the
if it was
north.
whitewashed there, you can only imagine what it's like in bumfuck Alabama. So
Yeah.
so yeah. I was just learning about Barry Goldwater. That
Yeah.
guy is a fucking lunatic. um, I didn't realize how suppressed the voting population of black people was back in the day. Like I understood like voter suppression, but I didn't know that like, across the South, only like 2 to 3% of black people could vote. I had no idea. And then and then, how many black people were just outright murdered and killed for no reason. It was just horrible. And like they don't tell you those things. They say slavery, and then that was bad, guys, and then we had the Civil War, which by the way was about states' rights, and then we so they don't really teach you about how atrocious everything was, which is pretty horrible.
Yeah. And like it's so frustrating. We could probably talk about this for hours and hours, like the problems
Yeah,
with school and all that.
yeah.
But
I'm
like
gonna become a 16-year-old anarchist again, school abolitionist.
I mean, they literally teach you like they literally teach the story of like American white supremacy as if it's in the past.
Yeah,
As if, it's like, oh,
right.
we fixed the problem already. Like, and then
Yeah,
you
but
have
then
all of these
also,
kids making these arguments of like, oh, racism's over, Black Lives Matter, making a big deal about nothing. Oh,
mhm, yeah. We're kind of covering all the civil rights bases. We got the gay
yeah.
people, we got the black people, we got we're really hitting everything.
Did you see the article that came out recently about like there were like 200 corpses of children found underneath a school in Canada because
I think
like
I did see something like that. What was that?
yeah,
I didn't click past the headline,
basically
so
like
yeah.
the school systems in the uh I don't in Canada, I will say, um, when they were like colonizing and everything, and basically genociding the indigenous people there, were just so
Mhm.
brutal, basically torture centers for these kids and
Yeah,
stuff. And it's like the stuff that you read in articles like that is just like, wow, like this is
yeah.
horrific.
So beyond anything that you would learn in a school.
Well, yeah, because it's
Which
like, yeah,
I
it's
feel like we
so.
would have a lot. I feel like we would have a lot less Republicans in our country if maybe we talked about how much we really fucked over people of color in the past. And it would be a lot easier for more people to grasp how that carries over to to the modern day. Um,
Right, and
for
like,
for a lot of people, because I feel like a lot of people just grow up thinking like, oh yeah, we did some bad things in the past, and there were a few people that said the N word, and then but now nobody says the N word anymore, and racism is over. It's it's difficult for people to really grasp like what racism means.
yeah, and I think part of this is literally because like we're not supposed to think socially or structurally or even historically about issues. Like that's not the
Yeah,
way that your average person is kind of taught to think about stuff. It's more supposed to be like naturalistic kind of essentialist like justifications for the way that things are. Cuz like
yeah.
I think this has something to do with in a broader structural sense the way that the humanities or like the soft sciences are kind of
I was
underprivileged
gonna I
to
was gonna say
like
that. Yeah,
hard science and like biology and all of that. So
right.
everything in the popular mind becomes reducible down to like physical substances. But I
Yeah,
do not
yeah,
think that that is a good way of looking at social problems at all. Like it just leaves you
yeah,
blind.
yeah. I was gonna say just that about the soft sciences. Are we drinking from the same cup? I'm sorry.
Are we?
I just, I, it's kind of similar. We got
We got the
the
lines.
little, yeah, we got the ridges. But anyway, sorry, I got super distracted just now. But yeah, in school, we learn about math and language and biology, but there's no like sociology class
Yeah.
in the fifth grade or anything. Like I feel like if we taught some more of the soft sciences and really dug in to like what the human mind means, and maybe some philosophy in that, like I feel like we would raise generations of much more open-minded, critical thinking youth. I think that'd be amazing for progress.
Yeah, but it's as if that's just not the system's goal at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of things kind of boil down to that kind of thing. Like, what is the motivator? And that's why, to me, it's like you can include in any analysis a criticism of capitalism to some degree because it's like if we have this whole country that is very based on this individualized dream of like profit motive kind of goal like around like everything that you do and that kind of methodology, then obviously you're going to have all of the other systems like education and all of that kind of serving that funnel.
Yeah. I mean, it is on to a bit of the contrary. It is super important to like teach people that their choices matter, that what an individual is, like working is probably important. You have to create something to generally to get along. Like I feel like some of those lessons are super valuable, but I think we just go like way too far with it, with it all.
Well,
So
even
so yeah.
that, like they don't teach kids personal finance either in most parts of the country, it
Yeah,
seems like. Like
right.
they don't even teach you how
I
to
Yeah.
survive in the system.
You're kind of just thrown out there, which further which increases the gap between I guess the wealthy and the non-wealthy, because the parents that have to work 9 to 5, both parents don't have the time to sit down their kids and tell them how to file their taxes or like fill out a job application,
Yeah.
so the people that are wealthy and have that time already are gonna be able to teach their kids, and their kids are gonna go on to be super great, but then the poor people are just fucked again for another generation. So we need to provide a lot more of that to kids, like without exception, which some schools do a pretty good job of. Over the summer, even though we're in bumfuck, red state, whatever, my school had a free summer lunch program for any kid who wanted to come there. I don't think you even had to be enrolled. So that was super good, but I think we need a little bit more of that from an educational standpoint as well, so that we can lessen that divide between the rich and the poor, or even just the moderately wealthy and the poor.
True. This is interesting. Cuz I do feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of more I don't know. I don't really know where I want to go with this. Cuz I just feel like I'm more like I don't really know the word I'm trying to search for. But I will get kind of esoteric with things and be like deep in the analysis where I come to the conclusion that like we need drastic change to fix everything. Whereas I feel like
Yeah.
you are more reform oriented. But
I think that's been borne out
yeah,
over many conversations between us, which I think makes for a super interesting kind of foil situation, um, which always makes conversations fun.
yeah, it's not a bad thing whatsoever.
Yeah, my one of my books that I got, I can grab. It's politics is oh, politics is for power. Is that
Yeah,
backwards? Um, how to move beyond political hobbyism, take action, and make real change. Um, which is a book that I'm going to start reading, which I'm super excited about, because that's something that I'm personally super passionate about. Like I really want to get beyond this stage of my life where I just sit in my room, get my news from articles that I see on Twitter and Destiny and shit. So I really want to move beyond that, and I want to do some really good things. So I'm super excited to get into that. I've been I've been toying even more with the idea of running for office one day, um,
that would be a good thing.
which which would be super interesting. Yeah, can you imagine having blue Alabama?
Wow, that would be
you know,
crazy.
yeah, that would be fucking crazy. It's a little bit pie in the sky, dreamy right now, but I think it'd be a super cool thing to try. I don't know how many races I'd win, but maybe I could get some attention if I ran for Alabama state office a couple times. Maybe be a secretary for some national progressive one day, super far down the line. Just things like that I've been thinking about recently, and how
Maybe
to change things and how I want to go about it.
maybe Destiny would help your campaign.
Yeah, maybe he would. Long time viewer. um, went to Georgia that one time. Maybe you could help me out, but yeah, I don't know.
That would be super cool if that actually happens. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, and then you'd have a podcast regular with a seat in the Alabama courthouse or state house.
Everything just goes up from here.
Possibly, hopefully, maybe. If I do well in college, I'm going to school for political science. Gonna learn learn as much as I can in the least amount of time, and maybe I'll do something cool with it.
Yeah, I am including political science in my self design major with philosophy and English as well. I'm
Oh,
basically
really? That's
setting
awesome.
myself up to write theory, basically.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
what I will be doing to make an income. I don't know yet, but
yeah. I mean, you can do a lot of things with a political science degree. I've been reading. It's a super it looks super good. Like to have that understanding. Um, so you could probably do a lot. Um, yeah.
that's an
But
interesting. Um, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's an interesting
no, you're good.
subject. Politics for power, because like yeah, like that's really what it's about at the end of the day. That's kind
Yeah.
of what it is. Oh shit! Did we just lose him? Hello?
Little technical difficulties. I
Are
have
we
no idea what happened.
are we
My internet
back?
my internet didn't drop. It just my Discord just decided it was time to restart. So
All
sorry
right.
about that.
Well,
Um,
I'm glad that fixed itself fast.
yeah, it did. Anyway, so yeah, you were saying politics is for power. That's what it's about.
Yeah, like that's kind of at the end of the day, that's why it annoys me when people say politics is just policy because it's like it's more complicated than that.
Well, yes. Policy. A lot of policy is just about gaining support. um, you know, especially back in the day. As I've been reading in my other book, Why We're Polarized, um, parties didn't really mean much ideologically. Political parties were all about just like basically making friends in the space. It was a lot more about trust and keeping promises, and if you broke a promise, nobody was ever going to work with you again. It was a lot more about like joining together with your fellow politicians. To like pass an agenda rather than it was about having a shared party platform, which was super interesting to read.
What else? What else is in that book?
um, well, right here, it the intro was actually super interesting. It was kind of about saving quote unquote identity politics,
Oh.
and how it's used, how that buzzword identity or buzz phrase identity politics is super duper weaponized.
Yeah.
Like we always talk about we always talk about um how wanting civil rights or gay marriage, all that's identity politics. But when you talk about the 60, 70, 80% of white Protestants who voted for Trump, that's that's not identity politics. That's just, so um the point being that it's more used as a bludgeon against civil rights than it is an actual analytical term in the popular space. I think people forget that identity and politics are inextricably linked, um, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, which yeah, the guy that writes it, he's a bit of a lib, but he's he's pretty good. I like the way he's framing everything about less so systems, or sorry, less so individuals and more broad systems, only using individuals like Donald Trump, Barry Goldwater, Lyndon Johnson as like examples of a system rather than symptoms of a problem, um, which is a type of analysis that I'm really drawn to. Um, Rather than the individualistic approach. I think he's super good and he's doing well so far as far as I've read.
Yeah, it sounds like good contemporary kind of political
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah. It's just a lot of good history so far. I'm only on chapter 3 out of 10, so take take what I say about it with a grain of salt. I just got it what day is it? Monday. I got it 2 days ago or something. Saturday. So I've been really digging into it, and I'm learning so much, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Um, yeah, it was published in 2020. Um, it kind of it kind of opens by shitting on Hillary Clinton's book that she published after the 2016 election. What happened
Based.
or whatever.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
whole book is
right.
just her blaming it all on anything except for herself. That's like
Yeah, yeah. It it uses it as an interesting jumping off point. It's like he kind of takes it as an opportunity to say like everybody thinks what happened in 2016 is so fucking strange when this is a trend. This kind of polarization is a trend that we've seen from elections back even to 2000, 2004, 2008. Every election has been kind of fucking crazy recently. 2016 is just the next logical conclusion of the trend. Um, so so yeah. It talks about the media feedback loop with polarization. Like, as issues get more tied to identity and as we conquer more identity based issues, the people become more polarized. And as a result, the media polarizes as well to appeal to as many people as possible. And then the media polarizing, splits the people more. And then we just go into this crazy feedback loop where everything just gets further and further from um, from reason.
hmm. I do find that interesting though because I find this with a lot of like politics writers basically is they always appeal to some kind of like idea of like why can't we just get back to reality, why can't we just get back to like reasonable discussion, but then I'm kind of left with that thinking like what do you actually mean by that, because there's not
Mhm.
really any like entirely unbiased picture of the world. It's all there's always you're always somewhere on the
Yeah,
spectrum.
yeah. The most recent chapter was super interesting. It talked about kind of psychological politics and how personality type even can influence whether or not you're a liberal or a conservative or whatever.
There are
Um,
correlations, yeah, if with
yeah,
different measurements, yeah.
I wish I had, maybe I should go through and bookmark it sometime and we can talk about it more in depth, but it talks about how I can't remember the name for it, but there's like a personality trait called openness
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And and if you're more of an open person, you're probably more likely to be a liberal, and you're also probably more likely to go to a diverse city, which plays into our super big urban rural divide right now, where progressive politics not only do they appeal to people that live in cities, but liberal politics appeal to people who want to live in big cities. Um, so it's kind of an interesting, irreconcilable difference, like innate difference in people as far as politics and where they want to live and stuff. It's super interesting. Like I don't know how you would ever fix that.
Well,
like,
I think
like
there's
what do you do?
overlapping material factors here, to be honest. Like, I think those people are probably, it's a mixture between they're probably socially more like um, progressive, for lack of a better word, just in general, but also
Mhm.
probably economically better off than most people in the rural areas. So it's that kind of
Um,
thing where it's like,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about psychology to super speak on that, but the way Ezra Klein, the way Ezra Klein was talking about it, made it seem a lot more of an innate factor. But I'm sure there are things that go into it. Like I'm sure if we had to bring things kind of back around, if we taught more soft sciences like psychology and social science and stuff in school, we would probably have a lot more open people, to put it
Yeah.
that way. So,
If I take
so
any of those like personality tests that use that 5-factor model, which is I think
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
has openness
Yeah,
in
that's
it,
what I'm referring to. Yeah.
I'm like 99% openness. Like I'm very much
Yeah.
like that. And like very
Yeah.
low conscientiousness, which I think is the conservative
Mhm.
trait. Those are
Yeah.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
responsible, orderly kind of people.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
open
Exactly.
people are more
That's
like it's more creativity and also more like just interest in different things basically.
yeah, but I don't know that conscientiousness or desire for tradition is necessarily like a bad thing. I think society probably needs a balance of different types of people. No.
Well, I'm not really even sure. Like, I always, as a sort of somebody who's into Deleuze and Guattari, it's kind of like weird to think of people as innate categories. Because part of their whole point in their philosophy is like, that's not really how it works. Everything is always
Yeah.
fluctuating into these territories, basically. Whereas the real action is like the thing itself before it gets assimilated into a labelable kind of group. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
I don't think any of this is set in stone. Like I kind of don't think anything is. So I would hesitate to call it like an innate, unchangeable thing and like place it all upon the psychological traits because that is a liberal tendency in the like
Yeah. Yeah.
derogatory
True.
sense to sort of
Hmm.
ignore social factors and
Hmm.
as far as like how people actually
Well,
become the way they are in the first place.
uh, I don't know if that's true. I think that's more maybe just an American individualist thing. I don't think it's necessarily a liberal thing. Um, which I guess American individualism could be described as liberal, but
It could
I think
also be
it falls.
described as conservative in some ways.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's necessarily a liberal thing, but I do think I do agree that it's an American thing, um, to kind of reduce everything down. And in a lot of ways, it's probably just a human thing to try to make everything super simple, in that way, and try to find the quickest path to understanding, without really going too into the weeds with it.
Well, it's just like I don't even think it's just limited to America because this is part of what Mark Fisher would talk about, and he was from like
I've
England
heard that name. Yeah.
with like there's a lack of a political understanding of mental health itself, where basically
Yeah.
we're told that reality is just something that you have to adjust to. But at the
Hmm.
same time, we're given the message that we can become whatever we
Change
want.
anything or yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you're stuck in this trap where everything bad that happens to you is somehow your own fault on that level. Like that's the kind of
Mhm.
perspective that they're coming at it from because they don't
Yeah.
look at it in a critical structural way of like, "Oh, wait, the conditions that people are under have literally changed over time." So like obviously these people who are dealing with this new technology that's like bombarding their nervous systems and their brain with all these messages and stuff like that and the social
Mhm.
media milieu. I wrote a paper about how social media affects mental health negatively. It's like
Mhm.
all these factors are causing that. It's not just neurochemistry. You can't just reduce
Yeah.
it to like psychological categorical kind of analysis, I don't think, because I think
Yeah.
that's just a trap in so many ways because you're ignoring so much action that's happening.
Yeah. I agree completely. Mm.
But I kind of just went off. I don't want to hog the mic even though it's
Oh
mine.
no, I'm the same way. God, like every night at dinner, or maybe not every night, but oftentimes I'll just find myself talking like forever, and then after the fact, I'm like, holy shit, I just hijacked that whole conversation. So yeah, I understand completely. I just get super passionate, and then I go off on a thing.
Is your
So yeah.
family like cool with like your political views and stuff? Like is that
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's
I
good.
mean, well, actually,
Oh shit.
well, okay. My two little sisters, or all three of my sisters, are super either liberal or Kelsey is a communist. Um, but yeah, my little sisters are libs, you know, the Gen Z TikTok thing where you just kind of become that. And then my mom, as much as she doesn't like to admit it, she's a liberal. Like, she's super disaffected with the political system, though. I think we've talked about that. And
Yeah.
then Eric is, or my stepdad rather, is super diehard Trump conservative.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's an interesting dynamic. But he's, well, maybe not super diehard Trump per se, but like he's very conservative, but he's woke on the vaccine stuff, which is super good. He's getting that done.
Thank God.
Yeah, right. So he he's just kind of in the Fox News thing a little bit too much.
Hmm.
He's pretty opinionated, but yeah, they're cool with me being a lib or or whatever you'd call it.
Wait, would you
Um,
describe yourself as a liberal at this point?
I mean, I mean, I think for all intents and purposes, like in my day to day, I speak kind of as a like as a progressive liberal, regardless of what's going on inside my head. So they probably see me as a lib or for at most like a sock dim. Um, list of any further. I've been kind of wavering. I've been a little lighter on more of the down the line stuff and the theoretical.
Yeah.
Just which is I'm sure you understand from talking to me. It's just kind of not my bag. I'm more how can we change the system now? How can we read about, current American politics? How can I be electorally viable? All that kind of stuff. So I just don't really talk about the more theoretical. But yeah.
Well, I guess that's good because you don't. I don't know if I don't know if I want to say that it's good immediately, but like I feel like I have an emotional attachment to communism. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I
I don't
mean?
know.
Like
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know
very
about
like
that.
I'm an extremist in every way. Like everything I just go all the way in whatever direction I think is like correct or like best
Really.
suiting me. So it's very like I don't know. I'm just very wrapped up in that kind of radical politics lens of it.
Yeah, I think I'm becoming a lot less inclined towards that as things go on. Um, I've just not really been super concerned about how radical things are or whatever. I've just been more like, how much can I learn right now? How much can I affect the world positively? That kind of thing. So
Yeah, not really having like a cemented kind of position on the far left, right? Like,
yeah. Just more of a cemented position on what we need to do now, um, to make things better. I'm just that's just how I take politics
but
right now.
I still like get down with pragmatism. I will still vote however I can. Like I will still do the pragmatic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of
Less fun, maybe.
well, it's just not like the lens I'm coming from because it's not like I'm just radical for radicalism's sake. I actually believe
Hmm.
what I believe. So it's like the
Oh, of
lens I'm
course.
coming from is just not that of your average progressive, probably. It's more,
Yeah,
way more like inculcated
philosophical.
in that kind of theory, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Which again, I feel like we're like perfect progressive foils of one another. We're like reflections of each other, of the two sides of like leftist politics. Which maybe that's a bit haughty of me to say, um, but yeah, we
There's nothing
he's
wrong with
super
that.
complimentary. Yeah. So with that said, I'll come on whenever you want me to. I super enjoy
Based.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like, because I've just been full screen on the episode. Like, I don't even know how long we've been going.
How long have we been going?
We got
Do you have a timer?
54 minutes on the board.
Jesus, that fucking flew by. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Every time we do one of these, I'm like, man, what can I do to keep in touch with this person more? But, but then we kind of just fall into our own stuff once again. So kind of a cycle like that. But
I think we both have a tendency to kind of like multitask and get sidetracked
yeah,
on
just
stuff.
kind of shove things off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just kind of how I am. So, but like, just shoot me a text or or anything, and I'll be willing to talk on a podcast or any other type of thing. Um, or have me write a piece for you, and just yeah.
I've been thinking about getting things more active. Like, do you have any ideas on how to get people talking on the server more? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I've stopped using Discord in a lot of ways. So yeah, I don't really know. Other than to just grow it and make it a bigger space. Um, do you have the link in the description of your videos?
that's a good idea. I will get on that. I'll put that in the upload defaults. That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but like, I just want to create like the active because we had like a good small
Yeah,
like
we had a good
active
little rolling
community,
thing, yeah. With Deke and everything. Yeah,
but
LM, those people.
well now he's off like reading Nick Land and like becoming
Oh
like a
Jesus,
like neo reactionary shit. Like,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, it's very
Dude,
weird.
the pipeline goes burr, as they
Yeah,
say.
libertarian to neo reactionary pipeline.
Yeah, neo-monarchist, theocrat, whatever. But
Techno feudalism.
right, crazy, crazy. Wow. Jesus.
um, but yeah, like if whatever I can do to kind of get that going more again, I will. Cause maybe I should stream again soon and just like
I like that idea. Yeah.
stream throughout the summer at least, and then my schedule next semester at college is different. I on 3 out of 5 of the work days of the week.
Mhm.
After I get out of class at 10:30 in the morning, so I'm gonna have to wake up for it. But like after that, I'm free the rest of the day. So
That's super cool. That's a lot
yeah,
of free time. But yeah, maybe I should just make a bunch of lo-fi music for you to play at the beginning of your streams. Uh,
I'll play it. Like I like what you make. I like the way that you produce your stuff,
yeah.
for lack of a better term, I guess.
What's even different about it?
Well, honestly, like the kinds of melodies or like beats that make my ears go like, yeah, this is good. You are capable of making stuff that hits that vibe. Is kind of what I'm
Really?
trying
Like
to, yeah. Like
what kind of vibe is that?
I don't I don't have the music theory terms to describe it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't be the best at like communicating that, but
Yeah, I've noticed that's something that I struggle with, and I will probably always struggle with when doing commissions. When it's like I ask what kind of thing you want me to make, and it's like kind of vague, um,
but you
emotional
do
terms.
it well. Like
I
whatever
have to walk through
adjectives
that.
I give is like you hit the mood.
Yeah, I was super proud of that. The intro theme for this podcast that I worked on. I love that high meandering melody and everything, and the unquantized drums, and that was a super fun project for me. Um, so yeah, I'll have to make more stuff for you in the near future.
The way that that blends is very me. Like you hit like a me kind of aesthetic with that, I think.
Yeah, well, I did my best. I was just thinking like, what is the identity of this podcast? And then I guess I did it. So.
Um, but yeah.
But yeah, maybe tonight or just later in the week I'll work on some more lo-fi shit for you to throw at the beginning of your streams.
Awesome.
Um have that. I'm really like the resident in-house Madeline 13 um composer producer dude.
Yeah,
Kind of
basically.
fun.
Thank God for the Roadcone.
So true. Otherwise the airwaves at the beginning and end of your videos would be empty.
Yeah.
I think it's super cool that like I'm just super, working with you and doing stuff with you makes me super excited. Like I love the message, I love leftism, I love progressivism, so helping you out in those ways is super cool. I'm super proud that I got to be part of one of the biggest videos on your channel, the Trends horror video.
Yeah.
Um, that was a super fun and fruitful project. Um, so so anything like that you want to do in the future, is like right up my alley. Super fun, um, stuff. So hit me up whenever.
Yeah, I'll let you know because I've been thinking I don't really know what the next big video will be, but I've been thinking like I kind of want to make another video essay style thing where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
voiceover over something, which will definitely
yeah,
need
yeah.
music. So
Hmm.
just gotta decide the
That's awesome.
topic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any topic ideas? Like what's brewing on in the brain there?
I think at some point I have to make a video that's more theoretically focused, where I just explain like a philosophical topic that is kind of part of my broader perspective. So like at some point I have to make a video about the lows, like I have to. So
Yeah,
that might
yeah.
be what is coming next, possibly.
Almost like a radcom philosophy tube.
Yeah. Philosophy tube in more depth, possibly
Yeah, I
would be.
mean, she's super good with the pop philosophy stuff, but
Yeah.
I always feel a little bit unsatisfied with I feel like she doesn't really go crazy in depth. Like she explains things well and I understand whatever topic she said, but it's never like esoteric theory stuff, which I think is a niche that you could probably fill pretty well.
Yeah, and lately it seems like she hasn't been taking strong positions in videos.
Yeah, it's more just like here's a concept, I'll explain it.
Yeah.
Which is needed. It's good to have in the space, but you know,
And I mean the channel it's slow and it's small. It's very like but it just keeps growing. Like there's been no period where I just lose a bunch of subscribers or anything. It just keeps going up, so it's kind of
really.
yeah. The more effort I
Well,
put
that's
in, the
super awesome.
more attention it gets. So
And then, you know, I have a vested interest in your channel growing because that might mean at some point actually so which is exciting. Um
for sure,
so
yeah.
so yeah. Which is uncomfortable for me to talk about because I I don't I never know how to evaluate like what I should be paid. I've been thinking about setting up commissions and stuff, like on Twitter or whatever, and but like I just enjoy music so much that it's like I feel like I could do this for free all day, every day. So it feels weird to put a price tag on it, but it's also a very scarce form of labor, and I think I do it pretty well. So I um so figuring out how I should be compensated is interesting.
Yeah. That's not even part of the picture for the channel yet. Like we would need a lot. Like I think if I was at like at least 1K subs, I could try to open a Patreon and see like what kind of money I got, but not yet.
Mhm.
Like it's got to hit that point at least, I think, for it to be worth it. Cuz they do take a cut out of the
Yeah.
money. And like YouTube will always take a cut out of money if I monetize the ads too, so it's kind of
Right. And like it's not like I'm not struggling, I'm not starving or anything. So like don't feel like you have to pay me anytime soon or
okay.
anything like and I'll probably seek out paid work sooner than but I don't even have any paid work. So just don't feel any pressure.
Okay.
I'm sitting pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Um so like don't worry about it. Um
All right.
but
Well, do we got anything else to talk about at all or
um I mean there's a lot going on in my personal life, but I don't know how much I want to. Maybe that's for after show. But
Yeah, if you don't feel like talking about that on camera, you can just text me after we wrap up.
well, yeah, I'm just thinking like, how long do we have? Because aren't these normally like an hour?
Yeah, which is like kind of why I'm posing the question.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking that because if I go into a whole other thing, then we might have go like 10 or 20 minutes over. So because I tend to ramble.
All right, so I hope this was enjoyable for the listeners and the viewers.
Yep.
Um, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, we'll be
Okay.
joined by Theo/Les to have another
Yeah,
phone.
maybe we will. All right. I'll see y'all later.